Hey, wonderful people, and welcome to Talk to Me, the art of listening in New York City, a podcast where we dive deep into active listening, no matter the person or topic. And it's me, your girl Andi. You call me that because everybody does. And we have arrived at the final episode of season 1. In this episode, I get to chat with NYC-based social media influencer Viveca Chow. At first, I was just another fan hyping up her post with likes and comments because let's be real, she's out here doing the Lord's work. She puts people onto affordable ways to enjoy New York City life, from cheap eats and free pop-up events to budget-friendly services and authentic connections. And on top of all that, she shares glimpses into her Chinese culture in a way that feels super genuine. Since her content makes her feel super approachable, I eventually worked up the audacity to slide into her DMs, not just to invite her on to T2M, but also to gush over her gorgeous brindle coat pitbull Mochi. So let's be real, our shared love for pitties might have been what sealed the deal. Throughout this conversation, I got an inside look at her creative process, what it takes to keep both her audience and herself happy. She's transparent about the reality of being a city-based influencer, and trust me, there's a lot more to it than just curating pretty posts. We kick things off with the simple question I ask all my guests in different ways. How are you doing? So settle in and join me for an amazing conversation with a creator who makes social media feel like a friend. I asked Viveca to talk to me, and she did. Now I'm ready to listen. Are you?
Huge fan.
Excuse me. I got asthma, girl. Don't give me an asthma attack with happiness. Let me turn off all these inducers. Okay. I've started the recording. You have the questions. Is there anything else that you're wondering about?
No, that's it. I'm good with anything. And if you want to throw in any more questions, I totally will.
Well, I was gonna ask you at the end of the interview because I ask everyone. I love to do so for my next season. You're my last interview for this season.
Oh, I'm so honored. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Listen, I'm so happy that you got back to me. So thank you for that.
Oh my God, of course.
But I want for not the second season. I still have a couple of new people set up that I need to figure out interview times. But for a third season, I want to do a throwback to some of my interviewees. So I was going to ask you at the end, would you want to come on again?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me put the star right there because that's what that means. Oh, I'm excited. Okay. I have to clap because this is where I know my audio starts. So, first of all, Viveca, hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm so good. I love your glasses. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Cool. Great fact about these glasses, healthcare normally never provides cute glasses, and my healthcare plan actually paid for these.
Are you going to shout out your healthcare?
$11.99. If you want to be a union member, $11.99 paid for these.
Heck yeah. Love that. I love that for you.
Thank you. So, how have you been lately? How is your mental and spiritual battery? How are you going these days?
It ebbs and flows. I'm not going to lie. Being always on the go, especially, with my social media, focusing on a lot of things to do and pop-ups, it sometimes does feel draining because a lot of my, side note for context, I guess, I'm a content creator, and a lot of the times my content is going outside. And as an introvert, and I know this may be surprising to a lot of people, I am an introvert. I recharge at home. I could be in my apartment for a week and I would be perfectly okay with that. Sometimes it just gets a bit hard when I don't want to do anything for that day, but I have that almost pressure to feel like I need to get content. Otherwise, my algorithm's going to tank, and in a perfect world, I wish that I didn't really care as much. And honestly, from the beginning of time to now, I've definitely gotten so much better at that. And I'm able to give myself breaks and learn, what is my limit and what isn't, and what burnout feels like, and how to avoid that.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I would say I've found a pretty good balance, and it's really experience. It's trying things and then being like, oh, that was too much for me, or I should never schedule anything work related after my therapy sessions. Things like that.
This is fair. Balance through. It's funny. I was talking to my therapist about how this was going to be my most hectic day of the week because I have my work. I had a job interview, thank goodness, good opportunity. Plus, I'm interviewing you. And if I prioritized, of course, I'm putting my personal project with my interviews first, but that's just not the perfect world. And the first thing he said to me was, you better eat, sleep, and hug something cute. I'm like, okay. So I'm going to hug my dog before
What's
I
something
go.
cute that you like to hug?
So my poor senior dog got a hell of a hug this morning, and he huffed and puffed. He was not happy.
He's like, get away from me.
Truly. But I'm like, listen, it's the price you pay for having bad breath and being in my bed. So this is sorry, Hazy. This is what has to happen to you.
Hazy, how cute. I have a dog named Mochi, and I always joke around. I'm like, so you haven't paid rent in 5 years?
I know they sleep like they have a 9 to 5.
A full-time job. Drool, snore on their backs. You know it. It's amazing.
Sometimes I look at my dogs and I'm like, I don't sleep like that. How do you sleep like this?
Me waking up 5 times a night to go pee, like, I don't understand.
Legit, like sometimes I'm someone, I will wake up 1 or twice throughout the night for no reason. Then I'm just awake, laying there like, God, please let me go back to sleep. Meanwhile, I hear my dog in the background snoring so deeply. And I'm like, why are you snoring? And I'm just staring at the bottom of my bed like, oh, if you weren't so cute. If you weren't so wonderful. Oh my God, I'm so glad to find people who share the same pity pains.
Yes.
Oh my
so
goodness.
Relatable. So relatable.
Listen, these dogs, they bring a lot of joy and questions into your life.
Yes. Important questions.
That is for damn sure. Oh my goodness. So, okay, you are a New York City lifestyle expert. And one thing that I've learned about New York City being a native, moving out and coming back, is there is no one lifestyle to live. And your feed, with how versatile your content is, shows that there's a way to be affordable. There's also a way to spoil yourself. There's a way to just explore this city. So how did you figure out your journey as a lifestyle expert? And what are your key components to making sure your content stays authentic to your brand?
Ooh, great question. How did I figure out that this was what I wanted to do? For me, I'm a very adventurous person at heart. I like to do things. I mean, yes, I said I'm an introvert. I could stay home, but I still like to keep busy. I don't like to be doing one thing at this, like, I don't only like to be doing one thing. So this was, I guess, my way of diversifying. I like food. I started out in food in Chinatown. And then I was like, oh, but I really like exploring, and I like skincare, and I like beauty. And, that's where pop-ups came in. And throughout the pandemic, we're still technically in a pandemic, but during like the peak of the pandemic and after that, pop-ups became really popular as like a marketing thing for a lot of huge brands. So, and I really enjoyed that. I really like the individuality of what comes through these pop-ups, because they're all so different. Some of them are more my cup of tea than not, but in general, there's such a creative vibe. And I think I'm really drawn to creativity as a whole. So everything I do, I try to, lead with, of course, my passion, but what is like the thing that's going to bring me the most joy? Because I feel like with authenticity, it has to come from you and within you first, because I think that with social media now, it's really easy to kind of get lost, with the numbers, with the world in general. But one thing you have at the end of the day is yourself. So for me, it's just like, I want to be able to look in the mirror and know that I made these choices because that's what my heart wanted to do. Yeah.
So one phrase that you said in there, and this is something that I feel like goes super well with the fact that you say you're naturally an introvert. And the most important thing to stay authentic to your work is that you never get lost in all of, I would say, and correct me if I'm paraphrasing incorrectly, all of the external cues around us. Like you have to make sure what you're doing really stays within and comes from within.
Yeah.
So as an introvert, going out, wanting to stay busy and still incorporate your passions, what were the types of personal obstacles that you put in front of yourself that you had to get through in order to get to this point where this content is not only just something you feel you need to do, it's what you want to do?
I think some personal obstacles is that it's easy to get swept away by like the flashiness of this lifestyle. And growing up, I didn't really have a lot. I would say my family, we were lucky, but they always prioritize money in my education. So I never got like the extra, for example, like skincare products, I never got to shop or have like I shopped, but it wasn't like when everyone had their new phones, I was still like 2 generations away. So it was like, I was always trying to play catch up. So sometimes I think at the beginning of it all, like, for example, I started in food, right? So a lot of the times, like, I'm going to be real with you, like at the beginning, I started on TikTok and I did a lot of food collabs, and how collabs kind of come to be is they see your page, they reach out and they're like, oh, you want to come in for a free meal? And in exchange, you're going to kind of put a video out, right? Like that's kind of like the barter system.
Right.
And at the beginning, of course, like this was great. Like when I was growing, this was great exposure, great experience, and great connections. It's part of networking and growing your platform, because at the end of the day, like you do need content to grow your platform, and consistency is number one. So for me, I was like, wow, I was like, free food. I would say, especially food at like a price point that I honestly would have never thought I could be able to afford. That was so enticing to me. And of course, we still have to pay gratuity. But to me, I was like, oh my God, like I could never afford this $250 meal for myself. And as I grew, it was awesome. But I started to take a step back,
right,
because a lot of the collaborations were not, first of all, fulfilling, because the food honestly sometimes wasn't good, or it wasn't, I don't want to say wasn't good, but to me, it didn't like satisfy me in the way that I wanted it to. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not a picky eater by any means, but there's certain things that I do look out for, like with experience.
Right.
And to be able to promote it to my audience, I feel like it needs to be like authentic, right?
Right.
Because I don't want to be lying to anyone. So I started moving away from it, because I just started getting like the ick of like the obligation of like, before I walk in the restaurant, I already know that it's supposed to be good, or I'm supposed to have positive feelings about it.
Right.
Like, if that makes sense. So I started saying no to a lot of like the collaborations, unless I have tried it before. And I also research a lot before I like take on a collaboration. And now I'm just at a point where I will promote whatever I want to promote. But also like with affordable things, that speaks more to like me trying to keep like a sustainable lifestyle for myself as well. So I don't like go into debt trying to create these pieces of content. So I feel like I just rambled and totally did not answer your question.
No, not at all. I mean, and once again, I paraphrase a lot, so continue to correct me. I feel like this goes perfectly into the next question, which is the adaptability question. I'm a weeb, so I love to make references of anime wherever I can. So in my notes, I'm saying your adaptability is off the charts, over 9,000. Nice my little tribute to Toriyama. But to me, this is, I feel your way of explaining your adaptability, of having that self-awareness to know that you need to step back from one area and start to figure out what's the next area that you're going to start putting your collaborations into. So as far as adaptability goes, How does that look when you have kind of this niche that you focus on as a content creator and you step back and you reassess and you know that you want to move on to something else? So what are your next steps there? And what do you do to make sure that it's kind of like you streamline? Hey, Mochi!
There he is. He said hello.
Hello, Bubbas. Damn it, Mochi, you made me forget.
I'm so sorry. That was such a good question too. So I remember the first question. At the end of the day, for me, adaptability, moving one thing to the next, it's just really about listening to yourself, your values. Like, what do you want to put out to the world? Because social media is such an impactful tool that we have that I don't realize the weight of it sometimes. I'm not going to lie. Like, it scares me, you know? So what do you want to do with your content? And like, at the end of it, does it drain you or feed you? That's how I know when to move to my next steps. Because as I was saying, like a lot of the food collabs, it wasn't, I mean, it was feeding me, but it wasn't feeding me. You know what I mean? Like, I started just to realize I felt more drained than fulfilled. So that's when I was like, okay, you know what? Like, let's hone in on other things. I still love food, but I don't like it when there's an obligation there. And I think there were maybe 3 instances that I really did not like the food. That one of the reviews that I posted, if you can even call it a review, because I'm not really a food critic, but one of the videos that I posted, it wasn't like, I always try to be as kind as possible. So even if it's like an honest review, I don't bash, you know? So I always try to be like, you know, maybe they were having a bad day, or like, I personally just didn't like this. But in the end, it's like they invite you because they want like a positive review. So I would just rather, you know, like not post about it. And you know, then I don't know, because everyone's going to have a different experience.
Right.
So I felt a bit like conflicted there, you know, like even though I love being honest, these are small businesses, you know, so one video, you know, for a small business could do a lot of severe damage.
Right.
And I'm not saying like no one should post honest opinions, you know, because like there was a small business that I was like, the cream puff tasted like, there was like a fridge taste to it, but it was a very cute coffee shop, you know? So it was like, I'm not saying like everyone should be like, this is amazing, but sometimes I feel like for me, it's like, I need to think 3 times now with the size of my platform, even though it's not huge, it still has significant impact on like how it can impact other people and other small businesses in general. So that's kind of how I lead it with, and on top of my own interests and what makes me happy and laugh.
So you made a point, pointing your answer, speaking about the impact of social media, and it ebbs and it comes and goes, your awareness of your impact, just because it's, I feel like, and I get that, because it's at the end of the day, it's content for you as well. You make this to make yourself happy too, but now you share it with an audience. So what have been instances where you've seen the enormity of your content's impact?
Oh gosh. Well, the more positive sense is if I post a video and it goes really viral, and then the small business owners tell me, they're like, I'm booked out for 2 months, or you sold out like 2 months, 3 months worth of my classes, you know, that makes me so happy. You know, I'm a girl's girl. I like supporting. I really do love supporting everyone, and I just like, I want to see them succeed. Like it takes, I don't think people realize how much labor and work goes into having a small business, and I didn't realize this until I started befriending owners of small businesses and the sacrifices that they make, you know, not only monetary, right, but emotional. And I really empathize with them. I'm a huge empath, so I really see it from their point of view. Yeah, so that's the positive part of it. The negative part of it, of course, you know, it's like something that you don't mean for it to go so viral, because you are right. And at the end, I am posting it for myself. I wanted to document these snapshots of life. Like, that's kind of what I call it. when it goes viral, like obviously you're going to get really mean comments. And sometimes it's just like, I wouldn't say I have very thick skin, unfortunately. I am quite a sensitive person and I'm getting better at it, but I can definitely feel it a lot when there is negativity on my page. Like it literally makes me shake sometimes. So I have to ignore the comments, but I'm so like nosy as a person. Sometimes I want to see what people are saying, and that's my downfall.
Right.
Is like when I check it and I see a comment that I'm like, oh, that's kind of not nice, it ruins my day. And so really it's like, how do I get to a point of completely like not caring? Because it's hard. Like we're human, we're going to care. And I care so much because this is what I love to do. And even though I don't want to take it personally, like this was a part of a personal moment,
Right.
you know? And I feel like the internet, you know, because it's so vast and people feel that it's so anonymous, people, you know, just kind of post things without thinking twice or having the awareness of like, other people can read this, you know, like not only me, but like other people. For example, like I like this didn't like really bother me, but I did like call this out. Like there was this like picture of me holding this like huge like alcohol bottle, and I was just like making a silly face. It was at Omakase, and someone I think said something like, "That's not a good pose," or like, "You don't look good," or something like that. And the funny thing is, like, I felt good in that photo, and also that was the night that my grandma passed away. So it's like, you just never know what people are going through. So it's like, why would you take the time out of your day to post something negative when just, I mean, you can have your own opinions, just keep it to yourself,
Right.
you know? So yeah, I guess like, you know, it just affects me more than I want to sometimes. And I'm not afraid to admit it. Like we are human, and it's like, I want to be kind.
Right.
I want to be kind all the time, and I want others to be kind. And sometimes it's just like, there's a disconnect.
Okay. And so, I mean, living in any city really. I can't just say New York City. I would say it just because I'm proud, but I feel like living in any urban area really, you build a type of self-awareness. I feel as if perhaps you're living in New York City. The way you describe it to me as well is, you know, living here in general, you got to have a self-awareness about you. Living here in general, but then you also make content that can bring people here, or can make people feel more connected here, or sometimes disconnected depending their viewpoint. How does that kind of balancing that positive and negative impact influence your self-awareness continuing to live here?
Oh, that's a great question. I think self-awareness comes from, first of all, the people you choose to surround yourself with, because I truly believe that your 5 closest people, or the 5 people you interact with the most, or you feel the closest bond to, they are a direct mirror that reflects who you are. And I truly believe that. So from learning from the people around you that are very close to you, you're able to kind of like hold that mirror up to yourself. And also I do a lot of personality tests. Like I'm literally crazy about them. I've read everything, like, so that really helps with my self-awareness. You know, I'm not afraid to kind of like dig deeper. And also like keeping myself in check with things I choose to pay attention to, especially on my social media, helps me stay self-aware. You know, I'm not saying that we need to all have the same opinion or whatnot, but it's like, are you taking the extra step to consume things that should matter? You know what I mean? So I feel like living in New York City, especially because it's such a huge melting pot, right? Like,
Right.
And in Hong Kong, when I grew up, it was majority East Asians that look like me. You know, we were the majority, and then there were the minorities. And so now I'm in America, and it's shifted. The dynamic has shifted, you know? So I think New York City has brought such a huge self-awareness to the person I want to be and the person I am. And it's a wonderful thing. Like, I think self-awareness can be scary, but I really enjoy it because we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to do the wrong things. But in the end, it's like, who do you want to be when you come out of it?
Mm-hmm. So, bringing up that you're from Hong Kong, I'm going to combine two of our questions here, because the thing is, you're not just a content creator, you're a performer. You've done you are doing multiple things in your life and in your career. So can you tell me how number one, being having your Hong Kong culture, as well as the culture and training you have from audition processes as a performer, how does that all work into your abilities as a storyteller?
Yeah, so I feel like, I mean, in general, content is storytelling. Everything I tell is either my story or someone else's story. And it's just like how you present it and who presents it, right? So for acting and performing, I was a very simple chess piece that was part of a bigger production. And now with content, it's like, I'm still telling a story, but it's just like, I'm the mastermind behind it. And I'm the one kind of like making the ideas happen and the one kind of being in control, you know? So I feel like it's so closely related. And in the end, it's like, I want to be able to empower and heal the world and like just bring people together through positivity and creativity and adventure, I guess. Yeah.
You know what I really love about how you speak about your purpose is that I feel like oftentimes when people are figuring out their purpose, it always kind of it turns into a phrase it's always so beautiful to say, but it's still very much kind of lost in the person figuring things out still. Whereas I feel as I've been talking to people on the podcast, when people explain their purpose to me and it comes with verbs and action, and that's when I feel like, oh yeah, you're on a path. You're getting there. And you're like, and the more verbs you add, I'm like, yes, like you're continuing to get there.
Thank you. I just think the human experience is so unique and like everyone's so different. But we all have like there's a common theme if you care enough to look for it, you know?
That second part especially, if you care enough to
yeah, like it's so funny because there's something that I always say, and I know that a lot of people might not agree, but I truly believe there are no bad people in this world, just people in bad circumstances.
Hey, wonderful people. It's me again. Just a heads up, we're mixing things up a bit. We're diving into everything from emotional release and the human experience with questions like, when was the last time you had a good cry? To the all-important question, would Viveca and I make it through a zombie apocalypse? This part of the episode is all about two people having a real, unfiltered conversation. And I did not want to take that away by over-editing and taking out what didn't flow. Every part of a conversation with its twist and turn is a flow. That's the beauty of it. And I wanted you to have that. Keep listening.
So, we've spoken about how you yourself, you are a sensitive person. You're very empathetic. You connect wholeheartedly to practically anything that you create and execute. So, when was the last time you had a good cry that allowed you to release your personal barriers and kind of like once you had that cry, it opened some doorways that you may not have seen before then?
Oh my God, this is so funny because one thing you need to know about me is that I'm master of suppression and repression. My last good cry was my therapy session, and I don't even want to, I mean, yes, it's a good cry because like it was a cathartic release, but oh my God, it was so scary. I literally was shaking and hyperventilating, and I literally just like felt like I was out of my body for a second. So I would say therapy session like 2 weeks ago. I'm in somatic therapy because I found that regular, CBT doesn't really work for me. Just talk therapy, because if something happens to me and I get sad, great, I'll probably like have a little cry, but then I'll be like, okay, what can I do now? I'm productive. Like, I will turn that frown upside down and I will work to the bone and feel like I'm achieving something and accomplishing something. And then I'm like, oh, great. See, that wasn't so bad.
But so then after you had that session, you had that cry, you were tired, of course, because you had a lot of energy you just released. Well, how did things like that help you look at the world afterward?
I'm going to be honest. I don't think it shifted my perspective in any way with like how I view the world. But I will say that like your body stores emotions that like need to be released, I guess like for me, it's like, and it's a learning process, right? It's like, it's okay to feel. It's okay to like kind of like dwell in those emotions if it's necessary, because that's how you kind of go through it, but I wouldn't say I had like a light bulb moment where I was like, now everything's all roses and but I definitely would say that every time I do have these moments of cathartic release, especially in therapy sessions, it doesn't really feel great in the moment because I get really scared of them because they are very big releases and I'm not used to it. But afterwards, I get an emotional hangover. And then I feel like even if I'm not aware of it in the moment, subconsciously something has been released. So I think that's a great part of it. And this also happens when I watch movies or TV shows with like very real human moments, because I cry whenever I see someone going through something and I just relate, especially with grief. Man, don't get me started on Coco.
As far as your work, you have adaptability, you have versatility in terms of your career and how you can juggle multiple things and do so many things well and in a way that fulfills you. So this question to me is kind of like an overall thought of your creativity, because I'm a strong believer that everyone has their own brand of creativity, and after this conversation I feel like we're in the same boat about this. And I always like to think of creativity somewhat as a tool, because a tool helps you to put it into action. So if we look at creativity as a tool, what is your own kind and how would you use that said tool?
Oh, that's a really hard question, but a really good one. Can you say it again so I can process it?
Yes. I'll read it straight from this one instead of paraphrase this time, because I can't do that twice. I'm a strong believer that everyone has their own kind of creativity, something akin to a tool that you specialize in, because a tool allows you to put action to your ideas. So if we look at creativity as a tool, what is your own kind of creativity and how would you use said tool?
Creativity to me, I'm so creative and I don't know how to answer this question. Creativity to me, obviously, is thinking outside of the box, but not in like a really forced way.
Okay.
I think creativity to me is noticing the little details. I don't know how that makes sense, but in my head it does.
Keep going.
Noticing the little details of any given experience. And I think it's not being afraid to just go way larger than life and not being scared of it. My favorite creativity story to tell is when I was in kindergarten. And this was how we found out I was creative, by the way. When I was in kindergarten, I was in art, like we had art class.
Right.
And I went to a very traditional Chinese kindergarten. So we called it a local school at the time. In Hong Kong, there were local schools, which was like a Chinese based curriculum versus an international school where it would be either like a British, Canadian American, French, German, etc. based curriculum. And in this said art class, I was given the task to draw a sun, a tree, flowers, and a cloud. You know, the basic things. And I did it. And then I added smiley faces to it because that's what I felt like. I was like, I feel like these are happy clouds. I got in trouble. How dare they? They literally sent me out of the classroom. They called my parents in.
For happy faces.
Because I didn't follow the rule. My parents were like, we don't see what's wrong with what she did. They were like, she's giving her own like signature as an artist. Like, what's wrong with that? And, you know, thankfully, I'm so grateful. My parents are like, you know, they've always been my biggest supporters, and they're very non-traditional parents as well. And they transferred me to a more lax curriculum at the time, and, you know, everything turned out great. But I guess as I was telling that story, I discovered that creativity to me is putting how you feel about something behind what you're doing. Yeah.
So that I feel like it's definitely coming full circle in the conversation with me, because I feel like the tool for you and the way that you describe it is exactly as we've been saying, is your empathy, and it's your ability to emote.
Yeah, I would say that definitely. I'm very grateful. That is one of my superpowers, and I feel like I'm not afraid to be expressive, and I think that I don't realize I'm so expressive a lot of the times until someone was like, to my boyfriend, there's this okay, so when I watch TV shows, okay, and something shocking happens, this is me. Okay, they can't see me, but like literally I mouth agape, I hold this shocked face for like a minute, and that like I will go full lengths to express like how I feel, and I show all of my face. But I didn't realize until like my boyfriend like started laughing at me, you know, he was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just feeling shocked. I feel like it's such a beautiful thing when you are so involved with something and your body reacts in a way that you didn't even realize. I think it's just so, I don't know, it's so cool.
Oh my goodness. Now I'm just imagining the face of whatever it is you watch, and it's just that shocked face the entire time anything crazy comes up.
Or like, even if I'm like unsure about something, I like scrunch my face up. I mean, like I do this in my videos, like, and I didn't realize, especially in my like date idea videos where I'm like making something, or, you know, a lot of the things I make, I'm kind of scared of because I'm not really crafty or handy as a person. So when you give me like a set of tools, like a hammer, a needle, I'm scared. I don't want to hurt myself. So I'm like, and then I watch the video, I'm like, wow, I look silly, but it's okay.
I feel like that's like, it's funny, on my father's side of the family, our women are like that as well. They speak so much with their face and don't realize it. So something like if I'm out with my grandmother, she's retired and acts like she's 50, and I just walk around with her and she'll make a face at something, and I'm like, Grandma, you know people can see you, right? And she's like, I don't care. So
yeah, live your truth. Yes, Grandma, live your truth.
Like, I can't let her hear this part because, well, yes, she can live her truth, but I don't want to fight people in the street because she makes some crazy faces. And she's like, she's a true Virgo to the core, in the sense that when she has an opinion, that opinion is like, that's it. That's fact. So I know if someone asks her a question, they are getting the exact answer they're asking for.
She's consistent. She's consistent and passionate.
Yes, those are perfect ways to describe her. No, it's because it's also the beauty of the conversation. It's just such a wonderful conversation, and we've answered nearly every question. I'm like looking through to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is so wonderful. I like this because I feel like when you do anything that is creative based, you hit moments where you're tired, or it feels somewhat like a dead end, or you get to the point like when we discussed in the beginning, you're ready to move over to your next niche. So where does your inspiration come from when you're looking to create new content? You're looking for your new opportunities, or you're just looking to move forward from a situation that like you've stepped back and you know it's time to move on?
Yeah, my inspiration comes from two things.
Yes.
First, of course, it's the world around me. And when I say the world around me, I don't mean like the big things, right? I mean like little moments that I see on the subway, you know, two people suddenly striking up a conversation with each other. People, it's like the little characteristics of what make people human that I love. And I think this also comes from like my acting background, because I love to watch behavior in general. And there's just so much beauty and even like vulnerability that I see even from just someone sitting on a train, like headphones in, looking down. You know, I literally like, sometimes like moments like that inspire me. And it's like, oh, what do I want to do with this emotion that I'm feeling, you know? There was a girl that a few years ago, I was on the train. There was a girl just like sobbing, right?
Right.
Sobbing. I mean, you're not a New Yorker unless you sob on the subway. And it was so interesting because everyone just ignored her, right? Because that's the New Yorker thing to do. But then I would have given her a tissue. I didn't have it on me, but someone did give her a tissue, right? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a big thing. It was a very subtle, like, here, you need the tissue. Like, I don't think she even saw the person's face, right? They walked away. And like, I just knew in that moment that was like literally what she needed. And like, I can't even put words to it, but it's moments like that where I'm like, oh, like kindness, you know, like vulnerability, you know, like what does that inspire me to do, right? With my life moving forward, like I want to emulate that kindness too. I want to be a better person, and I want to be able to kind of like soak in what's happening around me. Mm-hmm. Second thing is, I would say, honestly, like what I need in the moment. A lot of the things I do, it's silly. It's kind of just like, you're like, what are you doing with your life? But it's what I need. It's like, what makes me laugh? And it's so funny because I am quite a silly person. I really like to have fun. I love playing games. And if you know me, I love asking the strangest questions. Like literally we'll be talking about something serious, and the next thing you know, it's like, okay, so our zombie apocalypse team. So if there is a zombie apocalypse, like would you be at the bottom of the building or top of the building? Like what are the chances of survival? You know, so I love to...
That is a good question.
Isn't that a good question? Let me ask you, what would you do?
If we're talking zombie apocalypse in Korea where the zombies seem to keep all their dexterity, I'm not winning. Because there was this movie, I think it was, #Alive, I believe, where the boy, the main protagonist, the only reason why he avoided the apocalypse was because he stayed home sleeping because he was gaming all night. And it was those same devices that helped him find another human being in his building that was alive. And at some point in the movie, he had dropped something and created somewhat of like a tightrope. And a zombie that was a fireman before it zombified saw the tightrope, looked up, smirked, and then started climbing it. And I just saw that part of the movie and I'm like, no, I wouldn't survive. I can't even do that as a human with dexterity. And then a Train to Busan. Ways to get through those zombies, but they're still incredibly fast. I have asthma. I can't get through that. Like there is,
so
I love zombie apocalypses, and I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. So I like to think I would survive, but I know better. I would be the diversion for you to get away.
Have you ever watched Alice in Borderland?
I have not.
Okay, so I used to also have similar thoughts as you. And for me, it's like, I was like, oh, a zombie apocalypse is happening. Peace out. I'm dipping out. I'm going first. Bye. I watched Alice in Borderland, and that changed my perspective. Alice in Borderland single-handedly made me want to survive in an apocalypse.
So I need to watch this.
I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's just like the rawness of what it means to connect with another human being, you know, in times of need. And I think that was so beautiful to me. And I was like, that in itself is worth living for.
I love that that's tying back to the original question of what you look for in inspiration. Because I feel like that's what you ultimately connect to, the rawness and the necessity.
Yeah. Yeah. And having fun.
Yeah.
That's important. Yes. Yeah. Like I'm like, oh, let me ask you, Andi, what's like the primary emotion you feel on a daily basis, would you say?
Most recently, happiness.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Truly. But I attribute that to therapy. I attribute that to being more self-aware. And just like you, I love those small moments you cultivate for inspiration. I call those moments glimmer moments.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, I just got chills. Oh, yes, I love that. Glimmer moments.
And it's just like you said, living in a place like this, and you know, I'm a Brooklynite. I'm from here, and I love being from here. But it's not always the easiest place to be in. As of right now, it's a little difficult. But most days I'm happy because I can look down any which block and I can see somebody living their life in a way that makes me smile. I can see someone living their truth. I can see someone laughing with a friend. I can see someone drinking responsibly and having a good time. And I mean, and it's just any which way you look, I feel that if it's what you're looking for, you're going to find it. So when I walk out my door, I honestly I just say a prayer and I just look forward to seeing the good things of the day.
I love that so much. That's so beautiful. Yeah. And I think like for me, I resonate in a similar way. I am so aware of, I mean, I don't want this to sound morbid, like from what you just said, but I'm so aware of everyone's like mortality in this world. I really am. Like, I really try not to take anything for granted, you know, like the glimmer moments. I really don't like, and it's like, it sounds so cheesy. It's like, oh, life is so short, you know, but nothing is promised at any given stage. So it's like, if I am feeling inspired to do something, or if I want to do something, I have the fire lit under my butt to do something, like, just do it, you know, like, because what's the worst gonna happen? Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen ever? Maybe you fall on your butt, but that's fine. You get back up. Yeah, so for me, it's like, I guess like if I had to put it in a way, it's like just being very present and in tune with how you want to live, you know. I call it like living intentionally. Yeah.
Soaking it in.
My primary emotion is tickled. I'm always tickled.
So you're always giggling and finding something to laugh at as well?
I am. I always am. Like, I literally will laugh at anything.
I would call that someone who's lighthearted. Like, you've experienced enough serious in life that you know that it's, like you said, it's important that you have those tickled moments.
Yeah, and a big part of that is learning not to take life so seriously when you don't have to. I think that was the big learning moment for me, because I used to be so serious. Everything was so high stakes, and I'm like, does it really need to be so high stakes right now when you, I don't know, maybe didn't get the ice cream flavor that you wanted?
It's like maybe you didn't get what you want.
Yeah.
But do you have everything you need?
Yeah.
And I feel like, and the beauty of how, at least, and how it's coming through in our conversation for me that I love, is that when you open yourself up to that, being a little more lighthearted and staying present as you do it, It's kind of like as you do that type of work, the things that are meant for you also come to you as well. And then, like you said, at that point, just do it, jump on it, and see what happens.
Yeah, because I truly believe that you never go through something good or bad, when you're not prepared for it, or it's something that you're not capable of doing. I strongly believe that.
Agreed. Oh, I so agree with you.
Hey, wonderful people. Thanks for listening in on this extraordinary conversation. I'm sure you got some amazing insight from it. Some of my favorite moments were hearing about how Viveca adapted to her journey as a content creator and continued to tailor it to what best fit her, not necessarily just the audience. While her food content was consistent and popular, she took a turn toward events and lifestyle for budget-minded people and still kept her main audience while expanding. And when you listen to her speak, you realize the most important part of her work is how she feels about her content. And as we also heard, Viveca definitely keeps check on her emotions. A lot of what she creates is inherently altruistic, meant to educate and uplift. But then there's also the content that just lets us see her moving through life. And we find common ground in that. And to be honest, if we were ever caught in a zombie apocalypse, I'd want my fellow survivor and I to at least agree on a handful of things. Some of the most important of them being food and how to maintain our resources. So I think Viveca checks those boxes. This episode, closing out season 1, just feels right. It's about evolution, about leaning into the things that matter most, and about trusting yourself in the process. That's something I've carried with me throughout this podcast, and something I hope you've taken away from these conversations too. Thank you for being here, for listening, for engaging. It means the world. And don't worry, this isn't goodbye. Season 2 is on the horizon, and I can't wait to share what's next. Until then, keep listening, keep learning, and keep showing up as yourself. And you know what? Find more to giggle about in life. It doesn't always have to be so serious. That advice I'm taking and giving from Viveca. Until next time, stay safe. You are appreciated.